Today is going to be my third video on my journey in learning Greek. If you've seen my previous videos, you know I'm taking Bill Mounce's course Greek for the Rest of Us, which is not your typical learn Greek course like you would get in college where you're memorizing a whole bunch of stuff and things like that. It's more geared towards getting you to be able to get into an interlinear and some commentaries, things of that nature, to look at the Greek without having to memorize a whole bunch of stuff. So in this video, I'm going to show you a new interlinear I found that has changed everything for me. Not only am I now studying Greek in the interlinear, I'm also able to do my Bible study itself and study Greek alongside with each other. And that's what makes this so fascinating. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit. And another thing that I'm going to give you, as you know, like I said, I'm taking Mounce's course, and I paid for the book and of his most recent course on Greek for the Rest of Us. And he gives the first 5 or 6 videos or so for free. And then after that, you got to pay access for the rest of the videos. However, this course I'm taking is his second edition. He has put all the videos for his first edition online for free right here. Let me show you. This is at a place called Biblical Trainings, biblicaltraining.org, which is a great free, give you even seminary level classes to take for free. He's got Greek study tools for the Bible. And you see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 free videos, right? No, excuse me. He's got 12 free videos here going over the verbs, conjunctions, nouns, interlinears, commentaries, the way he does a phrasing. It's a good lesson. As you see, the little red line means I've completed all these lessons, and I refer to them back occasionally. So if you're going to go this route, getting into the interlinears, I highly recommend you at least go through this and take some notes so you can kind of understand what you're looking at. Okay? So interlinears, let's look at one here. Give you the Greek text and then the transliteration. This is a typical interlinear here. Transliteration of the Greek word is spelled letter for letter for what the Greek would be in the alphabet. Okay, and then it gives us our English spelling of it, you might say. That'd be a good way. This particular interlinear, you can hover over and you can get the Strong's definition. But what's important is because Strong's gives you what's called a lexicon definition, dictionary definition, which is always going to be singular, whether the word's singular or not. It's always going to be singular in a dictionary, and this is what makes this so important. You have this parts of speech. You could click on here, and you see down here, it comes up. It gives you the parts of speech. Now, those Greek courses will help you know what a dative noun is, or you can Google it. But I highly recommend go through that online video so when you do Google it, you'll know what you're looking at. Okay, so let's read this particular verse in a typical interlinear. Okay, it says, "Christ I have been crucified with. I live now, no longer. I lives, however, in me, Christ, that which then, now, I live in the flesh. Though, or through faith, I live, that from the Son of God, the one, having loved me, having given himself up for me." And let's look at that in English so we know what we just read, because that's kind of hard to understand the way the word order. And something I've learned while studying Greek is word order does not really in most cases, define the meaning of what's being said. It has to do with things like stems and stuff like that in the Greek words that help you identify subjects and verbs. We use, I think, a noun, verb, subject, noun, verb in the English language, and it sets the meaning of the sentence. Greek's not done that way, and that's another reason why you need to watch that course, so you kind of understand that. But we're going to look at it in ESV so we know what we just read. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. In the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Now, why did I pick this particular verse? Notice it says, the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God. That's what I've heard all my life. However, if you look at this particular interlinear, that's not what it says. That's not the meaning here. I live, let me see, here it is. I live in the flesh through faith. I live that from the Son of God. Now what this is saying here is I live through the faith of the Son of God. In other words, it's Christ's faith. Now, when you look in Hebrews, it says Jesus is the author and finisher of our faith. He is the beginning of it. He is the creator of it. He's the finisher of it. And in Philippians, I think chapter 3 says, God granted it to us to be able to believe in Christ. So that is in line, this particular interlinear is in line with other scriptures. It says it's the faith of the Son of God, not our faith in the Son of God that we live. It's the faith of the Son of God. But as you can see, reading this particular interlinear is confusing. It can confuse you because we're used to the English word order making sense of stuff, and the Greek's just not done that way. Again, that's something you'll find out as you're going through those courses if you decide to go that route. What I have found, and this is what is exciting to me, is a reverse-interlinear, which is going to put the Greek words into our English word order and show you Greek word, English word, but still it's going to use it's done finding the subject and finding the verb and whatnot in the Greek to put this in the right order with the right words. Look, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. And that which I now live in the flesh, I live through faith from the Son of God, the one having loved me, having given up himself for me. That's an entirely different meaning here than what the ESV has. But look at. So I'm excited about this because now I can read the Bible in an English format that's closer to the Greek meaning. How do I say this? Closer to the Greek meaning, but putting words in order I can understand. And at the same time, we have these Greek words all here. Now, if you noticed here on this particular one, I have the Strong's numbering system also included. This one doesn't have that, but hey, not to fret. Look at this. I click on this word. Let's say Christos. Greek word Christos. And you see it's going to give you the part of speech. It's a noun. It's a dative, masculine, singular. So we know we're talking about one Christ. This part of speech. Don't you sometimes want to know, hey, is that plural or is that singular? Is that present tense? I mean, is that happening now? Is that past tense? Something happened in the past? Is it something in the past that is continuing on till now? Things like this is what you're going to find out in these parts of speech. And I'm always curious about this kind of stuff myself. But look, down here, you have the Strong's number as well. So you can get the singular definition of it. And all you got to do is hover over it to look at it. It says the anointed. That is the Messiah. So even though we don't have the Strong's number up here, we can get it down here. But we can get more information looking at these particular parts of speech, whether it's a noun, a verb, singular, plural, subjective, possessive, direct object, present tense, past tense, future tense, past tense with the consequences ongoing now in the present, and even now into the future. This is all kind of stuff that you're going to be able to figure out. What I just really like about this is now I'm using this, I'm transitioning to using this as my study Bible. So as I go through it, I'll start sounding out the letters here in the Greek. It's a slow way to study your Bible. I'm not going to lie to you. I made it through 2 verses today in Romans doing this. Well, I made it through more than that, but what I focused on was 2 verses in Romans. But being able to click on these words, come down here and get the morphology. That's what this stuff is. It's called morphology. It's a fancy word. Noun, nominative, masculine, singular, stuff like that. And if you don't have this memorized, I don't have it memorized what all this is. I have them written down in my notes, and I also tend to Google a lot. All right, I'll just put this in. I'll go nominative, masculine, singular. I'll just put the whole thing in Google and do this right here. And I'll come and see if I can't find. There we go. See, nominative, masculine, singular nouns. I will go look for this. I'm looking particularly if it says Greek. I might put the word Greek up here. But to me, this stuff's fascinating. It's kind of nerdy, right? Kind of geeky. Geek Greek is what I like to think of it about. Now, where can you get this particular module? It's right here. Berean Literal Bible, reverse R. R stands for reverse. It's Reverse-Interlinear. You notice it says Reverse-Interlinear here. With the Berean Literal Bible is the main text, which is this Bible right here. But even this, and this will vary somewhat a little bit. So it just does. But that's what it uses as the main text. And you see it gives you parsing and morphology and textual variants and all this fancy word stuff I'm not going to go into right now. But it's a great resource. And now Mounce, in his course, will talk about his reverse-interlinear, and he goes into why it's important. And there was a time when I didn't want to use a reverse-interlinear because I wanted to see it the way the Greeks wrote it. Well, it's getting this understanding that the way the Greeks wrote it, our English way of understanding meanings and sentences, subject, noun, verb, just doesn't apply in most cases with Greek. It does sometimes, but in most cases it doesn't. Greek's language is different. It's just different. So, to sum this up, the Berean Literal Bible Reverse-Interlinear is awesome. Now, if you're going to get it, or any of these Berean Bibles, be sure you download this very first one and install it too. It's the Berean Dictionary. It's required to go with all this stuff to be able to do this thing right here. This part right here. That's the Berean Dictionary. That's what that tab is. That's what gives it. And as you know, I'm a big fan of eSword. That's what this is. You can get resources because of Bible support. And I'm going to put the links for this down below where you can go get this at. And I'll put the link for the Mounce's free online video course. He goes through the entire course in this. I'll put the links for both of those in the description below. But as you know, I'm a great fan of eSword. eSword's a free Bible software, and there's a lot of free stuff that you can download, Bibles, dictionaries, whatnot, right within eSword through this download button here. Bibles, commentaries, dictionaries, devotions. All this stuff is free. Let's just look at Bibles, for example. And you can see all these ones that aren't blue is the ones I've downloaded straight out of eSword. And if you're going to do Greek, I definitely recommend you get this Greek New Testament Interlinear with Strong's number here. This one. That one. It's 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth one down. It's free. This stuff's free, and that would be this particular interlinear right here. Give it a minute. It's always slow. And it's also got parts of speech. Look at that. It's got parts of speech. And you could just simply click on that parts of speech, and you're going to have this tab right here, and it's going to give you right here the parts of speech. You got the RMAC tab. So that's another great interlinear. But anyhow, regardless of what you choose, I highly recommend the BLBr, the Berean Literal Bible Reverse-Interlinear. And I'm going to leave a link to get free eSword, because you can literally, because of Bible support, their downloads, I don't know, it used to tell you how many free downloads are here, but you can get what would cost you to get the same thing in Logos or in Accordance Bible software. It would run into the hundreds and thousands of dollars. You can get the same thing or something very similar from Bible support and straight out of eSword for free. So, and I'm not knocking guys who are making a profit off of all this stuff. Everybody's got to make a living. You know, the baby needs a new pair of shoes, but a lot of us can't afford all that. But eSword, which I'm going to go ahead, e-sword.net. You can get the free version for the PC for free. I think the iPhone version is like $4 from the iPhone store. It's very cheap. Unfortunately, your Berean Bibles, parts of speech will not work. You can't tap, click, and open up. For some reason, the parts of speech will not work in the iPhone. However, this one here will work in the iPhone. This parts of speech does work in the iPhone. You can tap on that, and it's going to give it to you right there in your iPhone. I don't know about Android. Don't have one. I'm guessing it does the same thing. Leave a comment if you know better, or if you know for sure what the answer is to that. So that's all there is to it. If this has helped you, how about leaving a like and a comment? You have a good day, saints.